Today we're going to do a little bit of trapping, primarily for fox, although we still have chances of catching opossums, of course, grinners. You never get away from those. Skunk too. Coyote, if I'm super lucky. I haven't got any pictures of coyotes this year on the farm. I have. Last year I had a few incidences where I caught coyotes on camera, but coyotes around my area are pretty rare. Although they are here, they tend to stay to themselves. They tend to stay away from people because there's no closed season on coyote here. So anytime anybody sees a coyote in the hunting season, or even not in the hunting season, they get shot at, and that makes them super wary of people. Go through what we're going to use today. I'm going to set a couple of hay sets. The ground is frozen pretty hard. It's late season here, so last day of deer season was yesterday. For this management unit, we do have extended seasons in special regulation areas further south in the south. Actually, it's not too far from here, but they have longer seasons. Some of the equipment I'm going to use, I have a Victor 1.5 on the drag. Usually I will also wire, even though there's a drag on it, I will wire it to a log, just because a coyote, that's a drag intended for fox. If I do incidentally catch a coyote, he could take off into the next county with that. We got Duke 1 3/4 on a short chain, a side chain. I'm not going to use my other traps, the traps that are swiveled in the base. Those are better for when I'm using dirt hole sets in the ground. I'm not going to put sets in the ground today because the ground is frozen like a concrete. These have the swivels offset to the side of the trap, so I'm just going to lay the trap on the flat on the ground like that, and then cover it with grass and hay and stuff like that. That's not going to, so the trap isn't, I don't want the trap in the ground where it's going to freeze. I have a chance of snow coming. It snowed a little bit last night, just the dusting. Going to have snow showers later, and at the end of this week there's going to be more snow, so this set will still function even though it gets snow. It won't freeze into the ground. That way I don't have to use any freeze, I don't have to use dry dirt, I don't have to use any of that. We're gonna do number 2. These traps are night latched as well. You can see I have the jaw up, it's not night latched yet. Night latching, for people who don't know, is what I've done is file a step into the back side of the pan of the trap. It doesn't come like that from factory. Some of my more expensive traps do come like that from factory. What you want it is, you see the way the pan is up like that. Well, what I want to do is when I night latch it, I'm going to set the night latch now. You might be able to hear it. Right there it was. So now my pan is pretty much level with the jaws of the trap, and that trap is ready to go. So when something steps on it, boom, it goes off. You want to set your pan tension too. You don't want pan tension that's too light. You also don't want it that's too heavy. If it's too heavy, a fox, a smaller animal like a fox, he's not that heavy, is going to have a little bit more trouble. He's got to put enough weight on that pan so it, you know, he steps hard enough on it that it's going to go off. But incidentally, you don't want a squirrel or a house cat or something like that stepping on it and it going off. You always want your pan tension enough, usually probably 2.5 3 pounds. You don't want it too light. We're going to use wire to wire the traps off. I already have some logs laid out, so now we're going to get the setting traps. Okay, we've selected our site for our first set here. I have caught fox here before. If you want to see some of those videos, just if you go on my channel and look through my uploads, I have uploaded lots of fox trapping videos before. What we have here is a drag. Big piece of old rotten wood. This wood was already here. Some of these places, like I said, I've set traps before, so I will, stage stuff out so that it's already ready. But any fox or animal that comes past here is already used to seeing this log. It's already been here. It's nice and heavy. It's flared. It's got knots on it so they can't pull the wire off. what I'm going to do is use the wire and wire the trap right to the log. We're also going to use the log for backing. We're also going to use the log to hide bait underneath the log. In this state, I can't have any bait visible from the air, so it has to be covered. Obviously, you don't want to risk trapping a raptor unless you have a falconry license. You don't want to be doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to get our trap here, which I already have up. I'm going to use the swivel. The trap is set with a swivel, so it's got plenty of motion on it. Also, you have to have a tag on it to make sure the trap is identifiable as mine. Now we're going to get a big strand of wire. So like I said, we're going to wrap this 7-8 times around that log. We don't want any risk of that. You know, you won't break one strand of wire, he's not going to break 10. Like I said, I do run the risk of trapping a coyote. I don't want to run the risk of letting them get away if I do get one. I will be setting these, like I said, primarily for fox. That's my intended target. But with trapping, it's like fishing, you never know. And what I'm going to do is go to the center of the log. Keep the weather side up because that's the way it was. That's the way it was positioned. Yeah, he ain't ever gonna get out of this. Now what we're gonna do is wrap that wire not just around the log but also through the trap link multiple times. I want the swivel tight to the log. I do not want the wire to be able to slide off the log. That would not be good. I'll pop up the end of the log here. Make it a little bit easier for myself. Now, I am by no means a predator trapping expert. You want to see some really good trappers online on YouTube. There's a lot of good sites. A lot of good sites I've learned a lot of stuff from. I used to trap years and years and years ago, and I stopped for a long time. And actually, YouTube videos got me back into trapping again. Just inspired me, I guess you could say, to start trapping again. So I did. It's easier now that my kids and stuff are a little bit older. I have a little bit more time. Now I just have another kid, a hairy kid, right? Trapping is time consuming. It takes up a lot of time. A lot of time. Okay, we're gonna bend that. We're gonna put multiple twists in that wire. Like I said, I don't want to spend my time setting traps and wait, have an animal get away. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Now we're gonna go around a couple more times. Even if I caught an old boar coon in this, those animals are strong. They're strong, and he's fighting for his life. So just remember, always make it stronger than you think you're going to need it. Always make it stronger than you think you're going to need it. Yeah, there's a lot of good channels on YouTube for trapping. A lot of guys I learned a lot of things from. First and foremost would be Todd Whittemire, Backwoods Outdoors. Todd was actually the first subscriber to my YouTube channel. I haven't forgot that. He's a good guy, he's a good trapper, does a lot of excellent trapping videos, and he does a lot of homesteading videos and stuff too. So check out his channel. Also Norm of True North Living. He's into extreme trapping up in the wilds of Canada. He has a trap line way north of here. I think his next door neighbor is Santa Claus. He traps all sorts of cool stuff, Martin, and his videos are primarily about time spent on his trap line. He puts up really good stuff. He's well worth checking out. Also Kirk McCutcheon, another Canadian trapper. Kirk really knows his stuff. These guys trap professionally. They send their furs in for auction and stuff like that. I don't do that. Also check my buddy Chip on Wild for the Outdoors. He's a southern neighbor of mine, lives in Maryland. A little bit further south of where I am here, a few hours south. Pennsyltucky Trapper. He's a little bit less further south from me. He has some good trapping videos too for fox and stuff. He runs general trap lines. Charlie and NL Ghost Wolf, he does trapping, fishing, hunting, all sorts of stuff. Jason Roberts. Jason Roberts is like Norm. He has a trap line in British Columbia. He traps real stuff. Wolves, wolverine, like Norm. Martin, lynx, cat, all sorts of freaking awesome stuff. Trapper Joe, another Canadian. You see a trend here? Trapper Joe, he runs a big trap line in Canada too. He has good fur handling videos, good trapping videos. You can learn a lot of information from these guys. They've been doing it for a long time and they know what they're doing. All right, here's our set. Trim off our wire. Put the wire back in the bag. Cutters back on the bag. I'm going to use that log there. I'm actually going to sandwich some bait in underneath it. Clear out the ground under the trap. I want the dog facing in towards the backing. I don't want any leaves in the trap. Leaves in traps are not good. Leaves are slick, and if his fox gets his foot caught between the jaw and the leaf, it's enough lubrication there to get that foot out. Even though this is an offset jaw, and offset jaws grip really tight. You know, that leaf, you get leaves stuck in the jaw of the trap, it's like having ice on it, it's like having grease on it, and they just slide their foot right out of it. And he can pull hard enough. Don't forget, you only got him by 1 foot. It's the ideal catch for a fox is a front foot. That means he can't dig. If you catch him with a rear foot, he will dig and dig and dig with his front feet. He'll try to dig your trap out. Now, obviously with this trap, there's nothing to dig out. He can't chew the chain, he can't chew the wire. He could chew the log, but to chew that log, he's gonna have to chew a long time. Also, it's heavy enough that he's not gonna drag it very far, if at all. Even a coyote is gonna have a hard time dragging that log, and the coyotes are freaking crazy strong as well. But, all right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get our bait and our grass. I collected some grass from the area here. It's dead, it's dry. This has been standing, it's not laying on the ground. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it up and blend it in. Change my gloves here, take my set gloves off. I only use these for handling the trap. Do not use the same gloves for handling a bait. We'll get our bait. All right, what we're gonna use for bait is bits of squirrel hide, bits of squirrel, chunks of intestines, like so, heart. Squirrel hide is really tough. Squirrel head. Anything I didn't use after the squirrels, after I butcher the squirrels for eating them, I'll freeze everything. Don't waste anything. If you're going to take the animal, make sure you use all of it. Try not to waste anything. There's always a use for it. There's always a use for it. The guy I mentioned earlier, Chip, he shoots a lot of groundhogs. He has permission to hunt on decent sized farms in Maryland. He shoots a lot of groundhogs and he makes trapping bait out of the groundhogs. So not only is he, removing the nuisance for the farmer, he's also utilizing the groundhog to make bait to trap so he can trap some fur too. So that works out. And what I'm gonna do, I just chunked it up. Squirrel hide is really tough. Use the old knife, you can use an axe, you can use an entrenching tool, whatever you want to chop it up. I'm just gonna use the log to chop it up. And you thought the Bowie knife was just for looks. Actually, it's for killing zombies. But let's get back to the trapping. Okay, what we're gonna do is gonna hide this, pack it in under the log where it's not visible from the air. The idea is you want the fox or coyote or wherever you have searching around. I'm gonna cover this trap. I'm not gonna put a specific dirt hole here to let him know that, okay, there's a dirt hole here, I gotta check it out. What we're gonna do is hide this bait in here, and this good stuff here. We're gonna hide it, or we're gonna leave it so he has to search for it and dig for it. He's gonna come to this hay set, and it's exactly what it is. It's gonna be covered in grass, it's gonna be covered in the long grass. He's gonna have to search through the grass to find the bait. Okay, we'll leave that. He's gonna have to search through the grass to find the bait. What we're gonna do is jam that under there so he has to dig it out. You can't get it out, you don't want him to be able to get it out real easy. You also don't want it away from your trap. You want it obviously close to your trap. Have pieces of it laying in here where he can dig it up. Cut a couple more chunks here. Does that squirrel taste good? I'll take your word for it. It's a little freezer burnt. I'm also going to put lure on the log. And what we're going to do is we're going to night latch our trap. We're going to clear the ground. Get that swivel locked down. And we're going to get our scissors. I'm going to cut it in short strands. And cover up the trap. I'm going to leave a couple of pieces of bait out away from the log, but I'm going to make sure that they're covered, that they're not visible. Just don't want the trap to be visible. I also can't have the bait visible, so I have to make sure all the bait is covered up. Like I said, I don't want them to have to be coming down releasing a hawk out of the trap. That's good. Now, what I'm going to do is jump. See how hard that ground is? It's like concrete. Okay, now you can see here's our set. None of the bait is visible. It doesn't look unnatural. There's no dirt hole. And I've had previous experiences here with foxes that are diggers. There's no dirt hole here, so any fox that's had a bad experience with a dirt hole is not suspect coming to this. Now the bait is hidden throughout the hay in here. The trap is right there. That's the jaw spread of the trap, so my pen is right there. Now what I want him to do is come looking through that grass, searching through that grass, trying to get those, not paying attention to the trap. He's going to be paying attention to getting the bait out from under the log. And the more time he spends here, the more chance he has of stepping in my trap. So that's the plan for it. You can see even further back, it's not conspicuous. It's not, you see the grass I got from here? So it looks like it's supposed to be there. It doesn't look unnatural. Okay. Big stick. We're also going to put a little bit of Minnesota brand predator bait on here for cave-ins. This bait won't freeze, so the smell is always going to be there. Put it on the bottom side of the log. That has other gland lures and stuff in it too. Another big stick. Here's some fox urine. A little bit on the end of the log. Okay, I got two other lures here. One is the Cave-Ins Minnesota Red, and now I'm not sponsored by Cave-Ins. This one is Gusto. This stuff absolutely reeks. This is a long distance call, predator call. It's basically skunk essence. It's very, very strong. So what we're gonna do is, lids are frozen. Tight. Minnesota red. A little bit of fox gland. Again, on the end of the log somewhere where the scent can carry it. We're going to put some up here by the trap too. Fox, like any canine, they like to mark their territory. They like to leave their scent. So, right? Now this one really stinks. This is 100% pure skunk essence, pretty much. This here smells like trapping season. There's no self-respecting predator that's going to come past here that's not going to be able to smell that. Yeah. Don't touch that, otherwise you won't be getting back in the house. All right, come on. And there's our finished set. So whether or not we connect on it, that time will tell. Might not. Late season trapping here can be pretty tough. I've only ever caught coons late season. I've never caught a fox after probably December. I think that's the latest I've ever caught fox. But we're gonna give it a go this year. I had hay sets last year. I put some hay sets out too, but I only ever caught coon. But at least you know how I made the set, how I done the set and what it looks like when it's finished. The trick is to make it look as natural as possible. Fox can be tricky, you know. Sometimes they get finicky. They don't like to be crowded. They like everything natural. You don't want to put too much, backing on it. Stay away from that. We want to catch a canine, not you. All right, let's go to the next set. Okay, you can see with this set here, I have two traps. I had the one Duke 2, and then the Victor 1.5. The Victor has the drag. I have the drag underneath the log and then wired it to the log, and then this other trap is wired to the log here. This doubles my chances. Sometimes I'll approach from one side of the log or the other. I've also caught animals where I've had one animal in the front foot and back foot in the same set. There's like absolutely no way he's getting away. It's just increased my chances. You can see where I have the little chunks of meat here. Just freezer burnt pork. That's all it is. It's chunked up real small. It's buried in under the log. I've got a couple of pieces out here between the two traps, and then what I'm going to do is cover the whole thing with the grass just like I did the other set. And then we'll be on to making another one. It just shows you can put, sets on both sides of this too. You can have one set here, one set here, one set like right here, or two sets on the other side. Like I said though, unless you're using a real big log or a real big anchor, you run into the risk of having traps tangled across each other, or animals that are caught in more than 1 foot. Sometimes you get lucky, you catch two animals at the same set. That's happened as well. But let's get this covered up and we'll be on our way. Okay, here's set number 2. And this one, pan is right here. The other pan is right there. See, here's some of the corn chaff from the field, because you can see the place is littered with it, where the wind has been scouring it off the field into the side of the ditch there. So now all I got to do is lure this and it's ready to go, and then we're going to make one more and be on our way. Okay, here's our third set. See the way the traps, one trap bed is about right here, another trap bed is right there. So look at me sniffing the gusto already. It's good to go. You see how I have the hay on there loose? so it's not tight. It's not packed tight down. You want it loose because you want the traps are not bedded in the ground, don't forget. They're not bedded solid into the ground. So you want it loose so that the fox is expecting it to be loose. So if he steps on a jaw and it moves a little bit, he's not too concerned about that. I want him to search around. I have bait hidden in under here, hidden under a log, hidden under here. I want him to move around and keep digging in that grass for the bait. Eventually he's gonna step in that set. So at least that's the plan. We'll see what happens. Is that canine approved? You smell a stinky skunk? Are you ready to go home? Come on, let's go. Okay, let's turn our trail camera back on here. I have this set in front of a trail camera, so if anything investigates it, we might catch it. Last year I caught a big feral cat here. I caught a big coon the last day. It was a little bit before the last day of trapping. All right, camera's reset. Yeah, I got a big old coon and a big feral cat I caught here in the snow. But we'll see if we get anything or not. I have 3 good travel ways here covered for fox. There's a laneway here that goes down into the pond. They use that a lot. They use this path a lot. There's a clear cut through that goes to the next farm over. That fox that I got on video yesterday when I was muzzleloader hunting, that's not too far from here either. A couple 100 yards that way. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, we're expecting snow later on in the week. Now those sets will still work even in the snow. You get a dust and the snow and that, the trap is not frozen in the ground. So it'll still work. You're not going to get a crust of snow over it. The grass is going to keep the snow up off the trap, and it'll melt away. Well, at least that's the plan. Unless I get a foot of snow, then it's going to be buried, but then there's nothing you can do about it. At that point, you better be using snares, and even then you're going to have to set the snares higher up so the animals can walk through the loop instead of walking top of the snow and walk over the loop. Oh, that's right, I forgot. We're not allowed to use snares here. We have to use cable restraints. I forgot. But we'll see what happens. If we catch something, obviously I'll show it to you. If not, at least you see how I set the late winter sets when the ground is frozen like concrete. Of course, you can still set sets in the ground. You just have to use Wolfang earth drivers and stuff, but here the ground is really hard. It's cultivated land, so a lot of it's constantly tilled and plowed and tilled and plowed and tilled and plowed, and it is packed. So you don't have to use very long anchors, not soft ground. But I do have when I do use anchors, I use the Wolfang ones. And I have a big heavy driver that drives them down into the ground. And they work really well. All right, time will tell if we catch anything in the sets. If not, good luck to everybody in the late trapping season. Hope you catch stuff. Fill your traps up. And we'll see you on the next one. Come on, Sarge, let's go. Okay, one more set we're gonna put out. This is a weasel box that I made. I made it from pressure treated timber, so it's not gonna rot. They vent holes in the back. I wired in a Victor jump spring, a #1, small hole in the front. It's just a lid, overhanging lid protects the entrance, and then the lid just wires shut here. So even Ricky Raccoon can't open it. I've had coons mess with these before. I've been trying to catch a weasel with no success. Weasels in my area are a rare item. Don't see very many of them at all. But nonetheless, we are going to leave one out and see what happens.